Hello and welcome. This video is brought to you by the StreamingAdvisor.com. Tailor your entertainment with streaming. And what we're doing here is we're going to take a look at DirecTV Now on the Fire TV. We did a pretty extensive video of DirecTV Now on the Apple TV, but we wanted to test it on a Fire TV just to see if there were any differences. There are a couple, and we're going to cover those. But first of all, before we do anything like that, just in case you're not super familiar with the Fire TV, let me show you how you get this program. For one, you can search for it. You can use a text search, kind of the old-fashioned way. There it is. Alright, so you can do that and add it from this. Or, of course, you can start at the beginning and try to use the voice search. We'll call for DirecTV Now. You'll notice anytime you do a search like that, the first thing it's going to pull up is movies and TV. So obviously DirecTV Now isn't listed there. But if you notice under where it says DirecTV Now, you see movies and TV, apps and games, and search and apps. So you're actually going to click up. And you see now it's highlighted yellow. You click to the right, and there's DirecTV Now. So that's where you would add it. You'd go down to select it. It's already on my device, so I don't have to download it. We're just going to open it. Once you open it, it's just a matter of selecting, putting your email and things like that in. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at it. You'll see that the functionality is like what we had before. For one, pressing the main button, in fact the main control button here is the circle. Pressing that pulls up the screen. It shows you what you're watching, and that is, say, Signature Series about Pete Sampras. It also pulls up this little on-screen control with the play, pause, closed captioning, and the guide information. So that functionality is the same. Reminds me a little bit of Kodi. You're pressing the center button will pull up the little play control for Kodi. Otherwise, the top menu here is still accessible by pressing up on the remote, and that pulls up the guide, the watch list, and the settings. Settings is a place where there's actually a little bit more difference. For one, you can see that the settings screen is a bit smaller than what you see on the Apple TV. Preferences is still exactly the same, the autoplay next episode. But where I actually ran into some differences is this section about. For one, it has a different look, but that's to be expected. But it's when you start looking at things that you click on that things are a little bit different. For instance, here, it explains how the Nielsen stuff works. On the Fire TV, there's not like a little bubble that allows you to decide yes you want to do something or no you don't. You see, it explains after your choices, blah, 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 blah. That next paragraph, if after you've opted out, you change your mind and want to opt back in, click here. So you can't click on anything. To opt out of Nielsen measurement within this app, please click here. There's nothing to click on. On the other hand, if you're using something like an Air Mouse, which the Fire TV does support, you can actually have a cursor and you can click on something. Just in case you're wondering, I'm using the ATV Lite remote. It's a Minix remote, Mini X. So that is kind of an important difference, because not being able to actually select anything is going to change the way the device works for you a little bit. Terms and conditions is the same as it was before. In fact, you can select URLs with the remote in this if you want to look into it. I suppose you have to have a browser. I've got a browser, so I'll click on it and see if it does anything. Yep. It just opens up a little browser. Okay. Once you get here, though, it doesn't appear that there's any way to scroll. If we use the Air Mouse, on the other hand, you can scroll, but now it's written in such a low font that it's a little bit difficult to read. So it looks to me like maybe they imported functionality from their Android app into the Fire TV app, and that's going to cause it to be a little confusing to use with a normal Fire TV remote. Luckily, if you have some sort of an Air Mouse or wireless keyboard, you can pair it with the Fire TV, especially with using the USB dongle. But that's something I wanted to point out. Otherwise, the functionality is the same. You can go into each of the menus, and interestingly enough, when you go to show all, it looks just like it did on the Apple TV. I had wondered before if those menus were set up to look like Apple TV's menus. Even if they were, they look more or less the same here on the Fire TV menu. Adding things based on networks works the same. You go into, like we're going to BET, do a sort of an apples to apples comparison. Select Baldwin Hills, see it's on the watch list already. But we'll add ink, paper, scissors here. So you see, as far as the way the app works on one device or another, there's not a particularly glaring difference. Still shows you the channels that you're not subscribed to down here. The movie selection works the same. Again, this seems to be majority FX stuff. When you click Watch Now, it loads it. Ta-da! Looks like it buffers a little bit more on the Fire TV. This just isn't quite as fast, apparently. There we are. But that's not a big deal. Still gives you your extras with your cast and crew information. And besides that, the TV channels change the same. It's a left or right click that changes the TV channels, because up and down, as you've seen, does the menus. Should be pointed out that channels load, but they take this, so you see the line that goes across, that's not like old-fashioned buffering or anything like that. That is just the way that things load. You go to one channel, the line comes out, and then it loads. Go to a channel, the line comes out, then it loads. So if your TV does that, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your TV. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your Fire TV. It's just the way that it loads. If you want to see where your watch list is, it's up at the top. And just so you know, one of the things I was able to discover, and confirm by going onto the Fire TV here, is that whatever you add in one device, it's going to carry over onto the other. So that's helpful. If you have a Fire TV and then this debuts on Roku, it will also contain all of the things that you set up. So that's helpful. So this is, in general, this looks like they've got a very good integrated across the board experience from one app to the other. I've also taken a look at this on my iPad and, of course, discovered exactly the same thing. So that's DirecTV Now on the Fire TV. We're going to link the video on the Apple TV to this video, just in case you want to see a little bit more about setup. We'll show you where you go to set up DirecTV Now in the first place. But again, I think this service looks like a good one. It really does. And right now that they're doing that $35 100 plus channel deal, I'd certainly take a look at it. Don't get all confused about the local TV channels. Nobody is offering them, really. Local TV channels are a complicated issue. It has to do with whether a channel agrees to be carried, because a lot of these local TV channels are controlled by private groups that control channels all over the country, and negotiating that kind of stuff is super difficult. I haven't seen anybody do it yet. I don't know when somebody is going to pull that off, but this is something that you see all over the place in the cable industry and the satellite industry. So that's a whole nother barrel of monkeys. But that's the app. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please subscribe. We're coming close to breaking 9,000 members. Let's see if we can keep getting there and help people learn more and more about streaming. As usual, I'm Ryan Downey, the Streaming Advisor. Stream on, my friends.